How's it going, everybody? It is Pilot Flame, and we are back for the final time this FPL season. During the season, that is. We will be back, obviously, with a stream after the season is over. Don't know what day we're going to do that for. A reflections on the season and how it went overall. But today is the all-important Game Week 38 deadline. This is where we see who wins FPL, and it's quite close at the top. I believe only 1 point separating first and second place. And you know, you're going to be looking at your mini league rivals. You're going to be looking at where you stand, what your goals are for the end of the season. Mine, I think it's going to be to have a little bit of fun, I think. Today, I have a bunch of different potential transfer plans, and not sure really which one I'm going to go with. But it looks like I'm going to have to potentially ditch my United players because it doesn't look like they're going to play. There's apparently some leaked team news starting to come around already, where it's going to be basically a fully rotated squad, and even Phil Jones might even play, which is would be an interesting sight to see. But it doesn't include Fernandes and Shaw, so and that's kind of expected with United having a 3-day turnaround for the Europa League final. And then, you know, who do I bring in? Do I bring in an extra Liverpool player? Do I, you know, put the funds into Aguero and see if I can get him? Do I go completely rogue? You know, what to do? So we'll be taking a look at that. We'll be taking a look at the goals imminent table as we normally do. We'll take a look at the worst defenses so we can see who is going to be playing those defenses on the final day of the season. And as we know, with the final day of the season, there's typically a lot more goals than what would normally be the case. And we'll see who to captain for this week as well. In terms of some of the front runners, I think the main ones this week are probably Salah, maybe Mane if you're, you know, trying to go for a differential. Kane is definitely up there. Antonio and Bamford, I think, are among the ones to go for. So we'll be taking a look at all of that, and yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So that is the team currently as it stands at the moment. We are an hour and a half away, just under an hour and a half away from the deadline. It'll be not in this hour, it'll be half past the next hour, whatever time zone that is for you. I'm going to be keeping Twitter up on my second monitor here, so if you see me looking over to here, it'll be basically because I'm looking over to Twitter to see if there's any you know, different leaked team news, any different lineups that potentially could be, you know, released as it were early, maybe, and we will see. We'll see what we can get from it. Nothing as of yet, just that one like team sheet, which was basically I retweeted it as well, so it's also important to follow us over on Twitter, because I do retweet a lot of information regarding FPL, as I do follow a lot of accounts that are quite resourceful. And yeah, basically it was like Dean Henderson in goal. It was like Tellez, Brandon Williams, Bailly, Phil Jones apparently, Matic, Van der Beek, Mata, Greenwood, Alanga, and Ahmad. So basically pretty much the same team as United had, you know, when they played Leicester, except for instead of Bailly and Tuanzebe, it's Bailly and Jones, I think, which makes sense personally, if Jones is fit, obviously. But yeah, it definitely makes sense. The only person obviously that you probably play is Mason Greenwood, because he might not necessarily start the final, and I think that Tuanzebe probably deserves the start over any other defender, whether it be Lindelof or Bailly, so because he's been excellent the last few games, and I think he's been man of match basically every time he's played. You know, when he's played from the start, so I think he's done quite well for himself. So I think he deserves a start, and I guess if that lineup is true, and he is being rested, quote unquote, then yeah, I think that should be quite good for him. Let's take a look at the fixtures. So, if you're new to FPL, and you've watched the Premier League, in FPL and the Premier League, on the last day of the season, every game is played at the exact same time. And the reason for this is so that there's no match fixing or anything like that. Everyone has to play at the same time. The only time these players will know if something's going on in another game is if they're being told, if they're being told from the sideline or if they're seeing it at halftime or something like that. That'd be the only time that they see it. Hello, Jankster. How's it going? Glad that you could join us for our deadline stream. Went a half an hour early because, there may be some interesting stuff. So thought I'd get the stream up a half an hour earlier and just talk about some stuff because I can ramble on about FPL all day pretty much. Glad that you could join us. But yeah, the fixtures being all played at the same time, I enjoy it because, if you have your phone next to you or whatever you use to check notifications for the matches, you get a lot of information flying in all at once. So yeah, it is quite interesting. Bobby, a good punt for this game week. I assume you mean Bobby's in Roberto Firmino or Bobby Firmino, whatever you want to call it. I do have a transfer plan with him potentially in it as well. I have a transfer plan with him potentially in it. I think that he is he's someone that I could potentially bring in. Basically, what I'd have to do, I have it off on my other monitor because I have a bunch of different things. It would be DCL, Fernandez, and Masuaku in my current team out. Because I only have technically 2 playing defenders, and one of them is Dina versus City. Because I have Shaw, Masuaku's injured, and Aina who might not play, and Shaw's probably not going to play either. I would bring in Firmino for DCL. I would then take out Fernandez and bring in like Mount or somebody like that, and then I can go to basically any defender I want, pretty much. So yeah, I could definitely do that. So that'd be interesting. No team news as of yet. We'll keep checking periodically. Hey, Mana, how's it going? Sent a team's tweet. Which one do you think is better for a -4? Let's see, actually. Where we go? Notifications. So you got Bamford, Antonio, Kane in one. Bamford, Antonio, and Watkins in the other. So basically Kane versus Watkins. And then you got Harrison, Lingard, Salah, Saka. Or you have Mane. So it's basically Mane and Watkins versus Saka and Kane. If I'm getting that correct. Yeah, Saka and Kane versus Mane and Watkins. I like Mane and Watkins, to be honest. I like the Mane and Watkins team a lot better. Because I think Saka against Brighton, they're probably not going to score very much. Kane should do well, but I think Mane could also do just as well, if not better. And I think Watkins is, could potentially do well versus, he's been, quite good. Yeah, I think probably the Mane versus the Mane Watkins one. So, hey Zaka, how's it going? Ready for the last game week? I definitely am. Got myself a nice, very close haircut. I had a very long beard and stuff, so I probably look a lot different than what I would from the last time you guys probably saw me. Yeah, definitely prepared. And the last game of the season is always fun because you get these like sort of one of the basically I can watch the games on DAZN, and basically they have a goal rush channel. So basically they'll probably focus on, like, I don't know, Leicester, Spurs, or Liverpool, Crystal Palace, or something like that. And then if there's a goal or any action in the other game, they just ping to the different games, and it's pretty good. Also, who would you pick between Bamford and Antonio? Me personally, I would favor Bamford, and that's just because I only have just Rafinha. But I also have just Lingard too. But I think that Bamford's more likely to play. I mean, they're both probably just as likely as each other to play 90 minutes because Rodrigo is probably going to start from the beginning in central midfield. But I think I would probably shade it to Bamford because I think he's obviously less likely to get injured, and I think there's more goals in that game for Leeds. So me personally, Bamford. Also, he's going to be on penalties because Click's not on the field as well. Mind you, Antonio could be too. As a DCL replacement, I would say Bamford. It's just shades for Bamford for me, and Zach agrees as well. I have J-Lings and Harrison in the midfield. Yeah, so I mean, you can. I think there's just more goals in the Leeds game. That's how I see it. I think there's more goals in the Leeds game. They're up against West Brom. This is the first time that Leeds will have had fans at Ellen Road in the Premier League for 17 years. I think it is. So yeah, I think that's definitely more motivation for them, for sure. My goal this season will be probably to beat you, as in me. Well, I'm not doing very well, so not many. You know, if you could beat me, then sure. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard, to be honest. Maiden League has Kane and Rafinha. Oh, so if he has Kane and Rafinha, and you go for Bamford and Mane, that's probably, yeah, that's actually quite good. I just think Kane just looked out of it, to be honest. I mean, I know he's probably going to go for the golden, you know, he's going for the golden boot, but Leicester's not easy. And I think what Leicester are going to do in the final day, they're just going to make sure that they try to win. Because, you know, they have to make up a crazy goal difference and all that sort of stuff if they want to, like, pass, like, Chelsea or Liverpool. But I can see them just, like, making sure that they get the win. And if the result doesn't go you know, if the results don't go their way elsewhere, then sure. But I think this is definitely a successful season for Leicester, whether they finish 4th or 5th. You know, they're going to get European football no matter what. They won the FA Cup for the first time in their club's history. I think that's a fantastic achievement. You know, if United don't win Europa League, and they only get second this season, you can argue that potentially Leicester's season was better than United's, because they won silverware, they won the FA Cup. It'll be another defeat in a cup that United hasn't won under Solskjaer, so you can make arguments for it. And there's also every chance that, I mean, United played 38 games last season to get in the Champions League, only to be knocked out after 6. You know, so. We've been nearly equal the whole season. Probably makes sense. If you make the same transfers as me, or similar transfers to me, you probably wouldn't have done too well. Mind you, I think next season, you know, I have you know, used stats to form my decisions. The problem is I think I've used too much, basically. I've almost had information overload, and I don't know how to kind of filter it, as it were, to kind of make a concise decision or say this makes the most sense to me. And you know, a lot of last season, like when I first started up the channel, you know, I was mainly looking towards, you know, just gut decisions, basically, like, hey, look, I like the look of this guy, you know, so I was thinking Kane or Mane. No, go for Mane. Go for a player your rival doesn't have. Chris Wood or Bam Bam? Bam Bam for sure. Chris Wood technically might not even play, because he might start like, you know, Rodriguez and Vidra or something. Haven't done the same transfers, he's just way too many. Yeah, same. Same. I mean, I've taken, let's say there's 60. I've made 62 transfers. So if you exclude, so you get 1 transfer a week, so 38. This is just a basic calculation. I don't think this is exact, but you get 1 free transfer per week. I've made 62, so I've taken 24 hits this season at a minimum, which is 96 points, which is nuts. And I might go over the 100 mark today. I think I probably have to be honest, in order to fix the team currently. 67, yeah, that's quite a lot. But yeah, getting back to the fixtures, I think that the fixtures that are going to have a lot of goals is, I mean, Leicester Spurs could have a lot of goals because historically it has. Liverpool should score a lot versus Palace. United honestly, the games to like Fulham, Newcastle, Wolves, United, those could be no-nos. City, Everton could just be a comfortable City win. Burnley, Sheffield should be Burnley doing what they do and just beating Sheffield United. West Ham, Southampton could be interesting, but I favor West Ham in that one. Leeds is the one where I'm looking at it like that game has plenty of goals. And yeah, you know, Bielsa's not the type of character to kind of just, you know, tell his team, oh yeah, we'll take a break today. No, that's not how it works. And if we look at the table here, so goal difference wise, Leicester would need to close a four goal difference on Liverpool. But I think what they'll do is they'll just go into halftime, see if they can be ahead, basically. Because Leicester also ultimately have to win the game. If they win, they give themselves a fighting chance. Because if Chelsea's going into halftime and it's 0-0 and it's been frustrating, and Leicester up 1 or 2-0 on Spurs, they'll feel confident with themselves that they know that they did basically what they could on the final day. But based on my predictions, and Zach, I know you're not going to like this because I know you're a Chelsea fan, but so my predictions were, I think that Leicester will beat Spurs. I think Liverpool will beat Palace. But for some sneaking suspicion, I think that Chelsea will draw today. I think what might happen is Aston Villa go out there, fans in the ground, get an early goal. Chelsea's under the cosh going into halftime like a 1-0. Then Chelsea come out, get an early goal, and then like Aston Villa just kind of ward off, you know, wave after wave after wave of constant Chelsea attack. You know, Tuchel tries to make some changes, brings on a Giroud or an Abraham or something like that. Maybe brings on Pulisic if he's not on the pitch. And then ultimately, Aston Villa end up holding out and they get the draw, and then Leicester and Liverpool make top four. However, I think that Tuchel then goes and wins the Champions League. That's what I think is going to happen. Which would mean 5 teams would be in the Premier League. In the Premier League. In the Champions League. So, but that would be definitely panic stations for Chelsea fans, knowing that you have to win the Champions League to get into it, basically. But it'd be quite good. I think it'd be very fun. It'd be entertaining from a neutral perspective. And I'd much rather Chelsea win the Champions League than City, to be honest. But that's just me. In terms of the other positions, I think the 7th place spot is the UEFA Conference League or whatever it's called. So Arsenal can still get it. If Spurs lose to Leicester, and Everton lose to City, and Arsenal win, basically, then they go 7th, which is, you know, considering where they were, not terrible when you think about it, considering how bad their team has been this season. I also think that, you know, Leeds staying in the top half is probably quite likely. Well, actually, I think it's mathematically impossible for them to not be 10th or higher. Be interesting to see how, you know, if Leeds win and Arsenal obviously lose, then Arsenal end up 10th, which would be quite funny. And then it's just, you know, it's just basically monetary value based on your position. But yeah, the teams that basically have nothing to realistically play for, United and Wolves. I mean, it's just going to be Wolves' first team versus United's C team. Sheffield United, Burnley, again, you know, 1 extra place is a little bit extra money, but not the end of the world. West Brom versus Leeds. Leeds are just going to go out there and play Bielsa ball, and West Brom are probably just going to get just slapped all over the park. Fulham, Newcastle, again, this originally could have been quite interesting, but obviously that gap has since which widened quite significantly, so that doesn't really matter too much. Arsenal, Brighton does matter in terms of for Arsenal. Southampton, West Ham. I mean, West Ham only realistically need a point, and they confirmed themselves a Europa League place, which would be a fantastic season for David Moyes, and would arguably give him potentially manager of the season, in my opinion. Either him, probably, or Brendan Rodgers, probably, depending on where they finish. I mean, people were touting West Ham to get relegated last season too, so, getting relegated last season, but also getting relegated this season too, which isn't ideal for them. But they've done well this season. Who else we got? We got Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Again, it's all for Liverpool. Not really much for Crystal Palace apart from it's Roy Hodgson's last game, but he's not going to really... I mean, he'll want to win and spoil the party for Liverpool, but he won't really care either way. And then you have Everton, who obviously plays City. They could still potentially get a European finish in 7th. They would obviously have to win, and Arsenal and Spurs would have to drop points, basically. Aston Villa, they play Chelsea, so again, Aston Villa not much to play for. They can't change the position no matter what happens. Chelsea obviously can. Just trying to think, anyone else? No one else is pretty much self-explanatory. So, good bit of the teams, not really in for it. Yeah. Few teams are still fighting. They are still fighting. But yeah, this is my team as it currently stands. I don't know who to bring in. I know that Fernandes probably makes sense to get rid of. And I can't rely on Aina to play, because he hasn't played 2 out of the last 3. So that could be a bit of an issue. You know, he is playing Newcastle. Would be fantastic to see Fulham keep a clean sheet, but again, 61 minutes versus Southampton. Didn't play versus Burnley. Didn't play versus United. So is he likely to play versus Newcastle? Maybe. I mean, if I knew he was going to play versus Newcastle, then maybe I would go for him. And then I wouldn't have to worry about a defensive transfer, and I can do something a bit more aggressive. Which would basically involve something like, you know, if I knew Aina was going to play, I could just leave Luke Shaw and Masuak on the bench. I can go like Fernandes. Fernandes out for Mane, so it's effectively just a -2. And then like bring in Bamford or somebody like that. And go with that, basically. That's something we could do. Which I would like a lot, but again, who's to say that that we're gonna get that team news? Let's see, is there anything here news-wise? Let's see. Nope, I don't see anything as of yet. Mind you, we probably won't expect anything for at least another half an hour or so at least. So we'll still be waiting on that. But we will keep an eye on it. We will keep an eye on it. Now, moving into back to the fixtures again. So, if we're looking at players, so basically on the last day of the season, what a lot of managers will try to do is one of a few things. So if you're, let's say, at a rank, let's say you're inside the top 10k, and all you want to do is hold your position. What you want to do is you just want to hold your rank, and you don't want to do anything crazy. You probably don't want to even take a hit if you don't have to. So you try to minimize that as much as possible, and you would just get in basically what are called the shield picks. So basically the players that they're going to be very highly owned, everyone's going to have them. You do it just to protect your rank in that sense. So as an example, if you look at my team, a shield pick as an example would be the likes of Jesse Lingard, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mo Salah, these sorts of players. Because everyone pretty much has them, or everyone's going to be going for them, and they're most likely going to be, not really gaining you any rank rise for the most part, especially if you're up in the top 10k. Salah captain would be a shield pick as well. So, he's going to be the most captain player in the top 10k, almost certainly. And there's going to be players that go for differential. And basically, because of his effective ownership, so his ownership plus his captaincy ownership is going to be over 100%. If you don't captain him, you're going to lose rank from him anyway. So what you want to do if you want to maintain your rank is you'll just captain him, because he's the smartest pick, and it makes the most sense. He's the best fixture. He's playing for a team that's gunning for the top 4. He's in the golden boot race. His stats have shown that he looks quite good. What more is there not to like, right? Situation number 2. You're a player, you're just outside where you need to be, an obtainable goal, as it were. So you're just outside, I don't know, you're just outside the top 10k, just outside the top 50k, top 100k, top 1k. Doesn't really matter, as long as you're in a position where you are looking to make up ground, for a situation where you're chasing a mini league rival, you're chasing a specific rank, and you need to go with something either slightly different or very different depending on the point scale. I think if you're within single digit points of somebody, so let's say, with my team, I am 8 points behind my mini league rival, or the top 1k or top 10k or top 100k, whatever it may be. Basically, all I need to do is play it somewhat sensible and go with and make sure that my differential players, so like as an example, maybe Rafinha, maybe Iheanacho, whoever that may be, are basically good enough to make up that 8 points and surpass it. If it's over 8 points, if it's like 10 points, 12 points, 14 points, you got to be looking at maybe potentially switching the armband somewhere to make up that ground. And if that's going for the top 10k, mini league rivals, whatever. So you can basically look for different armbands. So as an example, if let's say the shield pick is going to be Salah, which it probably will be this week, your differential could be you have Salah and Mane, but you captain Mane instead. Yes, you may lose rank if Salah scores, but you'll gain a lot if Mane scores. But you still have the ability to kind of somewhat cover Salah, because you're still getting half his points in a sense. So that's something you can do. Hey Hazard, how's it going? All set for the final game week? It's been a while since you tuned into your stream. Well, it's a good one to tune in for, because it is the deadline stream, which is for the last game week of the season. And we will be doing a reflective one after game week 38. Not necessarily not today, but it's going to be probably sometime next week. I'll also be putting out my England 11 as well, and the 26-man squad I've chosen versus what I think Southgate's going to pick too. That's going to be coming out Monday, I think. Is Jota back? I think there are potentially rumors of it. But yeah. So apparently, apparently the United lineup is Henderson, Williams, Bailly, Jones, Tejas, Matic, Donny van de Beek, Ahmad, Diallo, Mata, Greenwood, and Elanga, apparently. Which would be interesting. And basically also just going to play their full team, and they're probably going to... I mean, United would be lucky to get a draw, I think. Mind you, we did quite well versus Leicester, so we shall see. Mark Southerners has posted his team. He says, here's the team sheet for the final day. I've used 2 free transfers to push by removing Kane and Jota to bring in Bamford and Mane. He's captain Mane as well. He says, risk is obvious, but for a bit of fun on the final day, with little to lose and a chance to climb in the ranks and mini leagues, good luck to you all. But he also has Salah too, so interesting that on that one. Hey John, how's it going? Finally, the D-Day, last day of the season. Yep, definitely the last day of the season. And yeah, all the games we've played at once is awesome. Yeah, getting back to the different types of players. So we have the players that are trying to hold rank. You have the players that are trying to make up points in the mini league and that sort of stuff. And then there's players like myself, where maybe there's no mini leagues attainable potentially, or they're very, very far-fetched, and you would need something very drastic to kind of get things back, and you just want to have a bit of fun. In which case, you can kind of take hits, you can do whatever you want. You just want that nice, you're looking for that 20-pointer from a single player that you can captain. So in this game week, it would potentially be like Aguero. Super risky, not sure what we're going to get out of him, but it's his last game for Man City, could be something interesting. Or players that just aren't in favor at all, like Roberto Firmino. Or you go for like a Joe Willock captain or something like that. You know, if he scores, I think if he scores today, that'll be 7 games in a row, which I think is tied most for any Newcastle player ever. Which he is well aware of as well. Any team news anywhere? The Man United team news apparently is, just mentioned it earlier, but it was I have Dean Henderson in goal, Williams, Bailly, Jones, yes, Phil Jones, Alex Tejas, Matic, Van de Beek, Elanga, Mata, Greenwood, Ahmed Diallo. Apparently that's the United team news. I'm 1 point behind in a mini league. Am I mad to take a -4? Well, it depends. So, like, let's say hypothetically, right? Let's say you were. I'm just gonna make a team. Let's say that this was. I'm gonna just do an example. Let's just go with some generic picks. We'll go with Dallas. We'll say Shaw. We'll go with, I don't know, Sufal, Reece James. Let's say, you know, this was Bamford. Let's say this was Kane. Let's say, you know, Fernandez was still in the team. Let's say this was, let's say this was Son. Let's say this was, trying to think of somebody else. Let's say this was Greenwood. Greenwood's a good example, actually. So if, let's say, somebody like this was ahead of you, right? When you look at the team, you have to look at what they have and what they don't have, and what they have the capability of getting and what they have the capability of not getting, and what they have to do it for. So if you've seen last week, this person didn't roll their transfer, or they're going into this game week with 1 transfer, right? If I'm looking at this, I can see that their team has 3 United players. So those 3 players are probably, like, Greenwood will probably play, but Fernandez and Shaw won't. Do they have coverage for Shaw? Yes, they do. They have Sufal. They can play Sufal, they can play Dallas, they can play Trent Alexander-Arnold, no problem. They even have Reece James if they want to. Do they have to play Fernandez? No, because they can play Son, Lingard, Greenwood, and Rafinha. Although Greenwood is a kind of a doubt, and they may not necessarily want to play him because of the fact that he is, going to be in a team full of youngsters, basically. And then up front, they have Bamford, which is fine. They have Kane, and they have Iheanacho. So if I was playing this team, let's say, with just kind of a straight bat, as it were, I would play Martinez in goal, Dallas, Trent, and Sufal. I would play Son, Lingard, Greenwood, Rafinha. I would play Bamford, Kane, Iheanacho, right? Problem here is that this player doesn't have, in theory, doesn't have arguably the best captain shout this week, which is Salah. If you were trying to catch them, you would notice here, let's say they only have point, like they didn't have the funds to go from Fernandez straight to Salah, because it is quite difficult. It's an extra $1.5 million you need in the bank. And with this team, which is already quite expensive, you have Fernandez, you have Trent, you have Kane, you have Son, you still have, Greenwood, which is, requires a decent price. Martinez, maybe they bought him later on. Dallas is still a little bit on the expensive side now. They would need to use a hit to basically get Salah. So if this was your team, or this was their team, you would say, well, what could they do to make it so that Salah comes in and allows them to basically better their team? Well, they can't get any other Leeds players, because they have Dallas, they have Rafinha, they have Bamford, and those are probably the best three in theory. So Fernandez would have to come out for Salah, and they'd still be short. Now they're going to be playing three at the back, and maybe they don't want to play Iheanacho. Maybe they don't want to play Iheanacho. In which case they, maybe they risk, they can get rid of Greenwood, they can get rid of Shaw, but if they think that they want to play Greenwood, which they might, and they might play him over Iheanacho instead, even if he is in a team full of youngsters and could do quite well and is playing up front, then maybe they get rid of Shaw and they just bring in a dud defender. But they're still taking a -4 for that. That's something you need. That's something you can recognize and say, hey, I see that they need to bring, if they want to bring in Salah, it's cost them -4. If they were smart, they would bring in Salah because they know that that would protect it against me, hypothetically, the person in second behind them. So what you can then say to yourself is, well, I can go one step further. If I have, let's go to my team as an example. Let's say I was going up against that team. I now have the situation where I have Salah in my team. I know that they have to make a -4 to get Salah in. Can I go one step further than that? I can get rid of Fernandez in this case and bring in Mane alongside Salah. Still potentially captain Salah, depending on how close it is. But you can still, you can get that one extra edge on them. And then if you wanted to take the -4, let's say, I wanted to do Calvert-Lewin just to cover their, to cover their Bamford. I now have basically the edge up on them. Yes, they have Son over me, but I also have Mane and Salah potentially assisting and scoring for each other. And even if I wanted to, I can go captain Mane. But I haven't lost any points on them. I know that they have to use the -4 if they want to get in Salah. If they don't use the -4 and they don't bring in Salah, they could potentially be punished even further. And then by just owning Salah alone, if he goes and scores a goal, well, I mean, you're gaining whatever hit points you take back if they don't choose to take a hit, and then some, because he's going to keep going for the golden boot as well. So you have to kind of look at what your opponent has, what they don't have, and what you can basically use to get the leg up on them. So if you know that they have 2 free transfers, then obviously it's a little bit tougher, a little bit more difficult. But if, let's say, your opponent has their 3 Leeds players is Bamford, Rafinha, and Dallas, and you have Bamford, and you had 2 free transfers, and you were adamant on bringing in 2 Leeds players, I would say there's probably suggestions to bring in Harrison and Alioski instead of Rafinha and Dallas. Go against the grain. Yeah, Rafinha and Dallas could do well, but so could your players too. If you know the person ahead of you is going to go Salah captain, and they don't have Mane, but you have Salah and Mane, like I said, you can captain Mane. If you know somebody's, if you know that they have Antonio in their team and they're not looking to move on any forwards, but they don't have Bamford, you can go Bamford instead. Same price bracket, different player, potentially same upside if not more. Many different ways you can go for it. Greenwood or Bamford for the final spot on my starting 11. Bamford, for sure. Bamford's going to probably play more minutes than Greenwood anyway, I think. Because Click is officially on break, as it were. Which means Rodrigo is probably going to start in the center of midfield. Which means Bamford's going to play up top. Which means there's nobody to come on for Bamford. So he's probably going to play 90 minutes. My bench boost team. Martinez, Sanchez. Looks good for goalkeepers. I like that. Holding, Dallas. You put Holding twice, by the way. So somebody, Dallas, Holding, Burn, and Konsa. I assume maybe Trent's there instead of Holding. Yeah, those are fine. Burn might not play, but should do, because Veltman I think is injured. Konsa should, Dallas should, Holding should, and if the other player is Trent, then yeah, sure. Lingard, Bruno, Greenwood, Pereira, Salah, Kane, DCL, Bamford, one free transfer. It's a mess. So, just look at the players who you think are going to play. So, DCL is going to play. Yes. Kane's going to play. Yes. Bamford's going to play. Yes. Salah, yes. Greenwood, most likely, yes. Bruno, Lingard, yes. Konsa, yes. Holding, yes. Dallas, yes. Sanchez, yes. Martinez, yes. So the only players that you probably have doubt for is, I don't know who your fifth defender is because you put Holding twice, John. But if it's a Liverpool defender like Trent, then they're yes as well. So I'm just going to go under that assumption. So the only players that are a bit doubts is Burn, which is, he might play. I mean, he should, because I think Brighton have a few injuries. Bruno, who we know is almost certainly not going to... Digne. Okay, so Digne, yes. Fine. That's good. So basically the only two players that you have to worry about is Bruno, who's probably not going to play. Maybe sees minutes off the bench, but again, probably not going to start. And Pereira. So if I was, if I had that team, so let's say, we'll put it up on the screen, and we'll just kind of take a look. So you got Digne, you got, so who we got? We got Dan Burn. We got Holding. We got Dallas. We got Konsa. We got Lingard. Bruno. Greenwood, Pereira, Salah. So Greenwood, Pereira, Bamford, Kane, and Calvert-Lewin. So if this is the team on paper, basically the players that you're kind of looking at that potentially won't play. I mean, Burn, if we look at his minutes, he's played the last 4 games, and that's just due to injury, so I think he should play. Konsa, I would keep still. I would still keep Konsa. Maybe a set piece goal, but again, it's, he's a player that you know is going to play. So Martinez, Sanchez, Digne, Konsa, Holding, Dallas, Salah, Lingard, Greenwood, Calvert-Lewin, Kane, and Bamford are all probably going to play. So the two players that I would do personally was I would keep your defenders. Pereira's not going to play, I don't think. I don't think Pereira's playing. So what I would do is get rid of Pereira, get rid of Fernandez. And since you only have two leads, you can go for Rafinha or Harrison. And then you have around £11 million plus whatever to play for in midfield. You can go for Son. You can go for Mason Mount. And that would just be for a -4. I think Greenwood's the safest one to keep. I mean, I would keep your defenders because they're all going to probably play. I wouldn't be getting rid of Konsa just because if it's a bench boost, he's a player that's still potentially going to at least get you 1 point. And 1 point's better than taking a -4 to, you know, have somebody else who gets none, right? That's how I would do it. Yeah, Rodrigo and Bamford are probably both going to start, to be honest. He'll probably go with his 4-1-4-1 system. He'll play Casilla in goal because Mellier's like click where they're like they've gone on like leave early or whatever. He'll have Alioski at left back, Ailing at right back. He'll have probably Lorente and Strauch maybe. At center back, and then maybe he puts let's see, let's check Leeds. Phillips should be fine, so he'll be back in the one ahead of the 4. Then he'll have Harrison one side, Rafinha the other. Maybe he starts at Pablo Hernandez because I think that's his last game as well. Maybe he goes Hernandez and Rodrigo, and then Bamford up front, or maybe he plays Roberts in there. Be interesting to see the Leeds team. But planning to do Konsa to Lowton and Bruno to Mane for -4. But then you have a situation where Pereira's probably not going to play. So that's the thing that I would, if you're on a bench boost, I would say that's probably not ideal. If you could take out a player that's most likely gonna not play. Let's see. So Az has posted his team. He says, "Here's me for game week 38. I think I haven't actually pulled the trigger on Greenwood out for Rafinha captain yet, but pretty sure I'm gonna do it. Main target: avoid relegation from the hashtag Elite64, but we'll see." So he's basically gonna go Greenwood to Rafinha and then captain him as well. So that should be interesting. That should be interesting. Danny Ceballos is leaving, apparently, Arsenal. So, yeah, nothing else updated on Twitter as of yet. So we have just over 40 minutes until the deadline, and I still don't know what to do. Am I in the Elite 64 pilot? No. Not even close. Maybe someday. I wish I was in mods and cons in Elite 64. That'd be sick. Bruno to Rafinha for a -4. I could see it. Depends on what the free transfer was. Will KDB start? I think he either gets 60 minutes or he comes off the bench for 30. But I don't see him playing the full 90. I think he probably does. If I had to guess what Man City's team would be, I'd probably say it's going to be like free transfers gone, free to Robbo. Yeah, that's not bad then. If I had to guess the Man City team, I would say it's probably Ederson in goal for sure. Right back. Is Cancelo suspended? Cancelo. Yep, he's suspended. Which means Walker at right back. Although I don't think Pep's going to want to play Walker right back. But I would say Walker right back. Maybe Laporte. Laporte and Ake. Mendy. Rodri. De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva. Mahrez, Sterling, Aguero, maybe? I don't know. Maybe. Forgot to ask this. Wan-Bissaka or Diaz, Greenwood or Rafinha? Rafinha, for sure. And neither of those two defenders for... no, I wouldn't go for either Wan-Bissaka or Diaz. Diaz might not play in Wan-Bissaka's... Oh, he's certainly not playing. And yes, that is apparently the United leaked team news. But I've seen it with Henderson in goal. And apparently Phil Jones is playing at center back. But that could also be a team as well. Like I don't know what the team is going to be, unless somebody reputable, shows me the team, or I get it on Twitter from a reputable source where I'm like, okay, yeah, that works. Then I'm not sure what to believe. Like if I get a situation where Samuel Lee is talking and says, "Oh yeah, this is the team for City," then yeah, cool, I'll believe him. I have Henderson and Lloris. Play who? I think you play Henderson. Because if Henderson doesn't play, the likelihood is he's obviously not going to get subbed on for De Gea. It's probably not going to happen. If he does play, he's probably more likely to keep a clean sheet because Wolves offensively aren't very good. Yes, United will be playing a younger team and they may have Phil Jones at the back or something. But I think Lloris is going to concede anyway, so I would say go for Henderson. Look at Goldbridge's Twitter. Yeah, so the lineup that Goldbridge had was the one that I mentioned earlier, which was Henderson in goal, Bailly and Jones, Tellez, Williams, Matic, Van der Beek, Mata, Elanga, Diallo, and Greenwood. Which makes sense. That team makes sense to me. De Gea in goal doesn't make sense to me. Dan James could potentially come in. Maybe he gets minutes off the bench. Can I see him potentially starting? Maybe. But who knows? Oh, if I only had Wan-Bissaka and Diaz to choose from, they're already in your team. Oh, that might be a problem. Diaz then. If Diaz is more likely to play, if anything. Diaz is more likely to play. I don't think Wan-Bissaka plays a minute today. Diaz would also be probably... Maybe not as much likely to keep a clean sheet, but it's more likely to play for sure. Prior to St. Maximin and Bruno to Mane captain. Also Willock. Forgot about Willock as well. You could do Willock. St. Maximin is a, you know, I'm not sure if St. Maximin's still flagged. St. Maximin is still flagged. I don't know why he's flagged. But Joe Willock is also an option instead of St. Maximin. But if I start Wan-Bissaka and he doesn't play, then Diaz would just get subbed on, though. Oh, Emil Smith-Rowe. Okay. Yeah, Smith-Rowe is fine, too. If you can stretch to Willock, I would say do that, probably. That's probably a little better. If I start Wan-Bissaka and he doesn't play, then Diaz would just get subbed on, though. But I think it's probably better to just start Diaz anyway. In my opinion. Because in the, let's say on the off chance, right? On the off chance, Wan-Bissaka's probably going to be on the bench somewhere. Probably. If Williams, you know, someone who hasn't played, you know, he's a youngster, hasn't played a lot of football or whatever, gets on a yellow card early, maybe we're forced to sub him out for Wan-Bissaka, which Brandon Williams definitely is possible. I think both players, Diaz and Wan-Bissaka, if they're on the bench to start today, they're very unlikely that they're going to come on. But I think Diaz has more chance to start. I think they'll want to keep a clean sheet. And they'll want to do well because it's Aguero's final game. And maybe Pep does play Diaz. Who knows? But I don't think Wan-Bissaka is playing at all. But I think you're in a situation where, you know, you're almost certainly that Wan-Bissaka is not going to play. But I would just start Diaz on the off chance that he does start. It's like percentage chance of Wan-Bissaka starting, almost 0. Percentage chance of Diaz starting, probably almost 0, but slightly higher. I mean, I think I think the most likely outcome is they both get 0s. You know, Pep will play some players that need some minutes. Maybe he'll start Diaz. Who knows? We'll see. I mean, they have a whole week basically to prepare. So, fingers crossed for that clean sheet. Yeah, you could get it. Definitely could. Maybe a set piece goal. That'd be nice. Right. So I need some help from you guys in the chat. Let me know what you guys think. So I plan on having a little bit of fun today. All the mini league rivals that I have are potentially unrealistic, and I need some help. I want to have some fun, but I also want to see maybe we can bring back some good times. So the potential transfers that I'm looking at. So this is one option that I have. So we got Calvert-Lewin out, Fernandez out, Masuaku out. We bring in Aguero for old time's sake. Willock just because he's on fire. And Robertson to make up our third Liverpool. That is option 1. That's option 1. And basically we play Digne, we play Alexander-Arnold, we play Robertson, we play Salah, Lingard, Willock, and Rafinha, and then we play our front three of Aguero, Vardy, and Iheanacho. That's option 1. Right? Option number 2. We go with... We just hope that Aina plays. We start him. And instead, we go for Mane and Bamford. That'd be for -4. And then we play Bamford, we play Vardy, we play Iheanacho, we play Salah, Lingard, Mane, and Rafinha. And then we play Digne, Trent, and hope that Aina plays over the other two fullbacks. This is option 2. Option 3 Option 3 is get rid of Fernandez, get rid of Masuaku, bring in Mane as well, and then go to either Fernandez with a Z for Newcastle, or Ben Mee, who's also the same price. Basically, one plays Fulham, one plays Sheffield United. Both are away from home. And then we play Digne, Trent, the defender we bring in, 5 across midfield, and our 2 Leicester strikers, and maybe bench Calvert-Lewin. I mean, you can bench Calvert-Lewin or Ward-Prowse. Doesn't really matter. But one of those two. That's option number 3. And then option number 4 is... this is how we would go for, like, Firmino as an example. Go for Firmino. The defender we can go for is Dallas. And then we have 9.4 million to spend in midfield. But I was thinking something maybe a little bit crazy. Maybe like a Chelsea midfielder. I put Mount in there because I can get any Chelsea midfielder. And then we play 3 up front, play 4 in midfield, 3 down the back. That's option number 4. Option 3 with Lowton or Charlie Taylor. Aguero for all time's sake. Yeah. I don't like the Firmino one personally, but, you know. The last time you ever have to get him in, you know what? That's a very convincing argument. And it's definitely a very convincing argument. Definitely a very convincing argument. So I guess we'll scratch the Firmino idea. Let me see if there's anything else update on Twitter. Ex-West Ham employee says he's not sure about the new kits. In terms of because some teams have, like Chelsea wore their new kit when they played in the FA Cup final. I don't see anything. David Silva farewell gamble did me dirty last season though. I lost my mini league because of him. Yeah. Option 5, DCL to Wood, Bruno to Mane, and Masuaku to Lowton. Burnley? Do I back Burnley? I mean, they are versus Sheffield. That's fair. It is true. Wood or Bamford? Yeah. I mean, that's basically what. That's basically just what was it? That was basically just option 3, which is Fernandez and Masuaku to Mane and Ben Mee / Fernandez, except it's just throw an extra hit in there for, you know, to basically not play Calvert-Lewin. Or Antonio, yeah. Who's higher owned out of those? I think Wood's obviously the lowest owned. Wood's 5.4%. Antonio, how much is Antonio? 10.6. Bamford 44.7. Lord. I just think, like, what's Chris Wood's ceiling versus Sheffield United? Realistically, a goal, 9 points probably. What's Antonio's realistic points against Southampton? Probably something similar. 9 points. What's Bamford's ceiling potentially versus West Brom? A hat trick? I mean, all of them could get a hat trick, to be fair. But I mean, Leeds played. What did Leeds do? Like last time Leeds played West Brom, they won 5-0. The last time West Ham played Southampton, it was 0-0. Antonio didn't play though. The last time Burnley played Sheffield United, it was only 1-0, and I think Ben Mee scored there. Got himself a 15-pointer. He's on pens, all the crosses on his head, corners, and people who provide are Taylor and Lowton. True. Yeah, West Brom got caned. Let's actually take a look at that. So if we go to Leeds. Yeah, here it was here. So they had an own goal. Alioski scored. Harrison scored. Rodrigo scored. Rafinha scored. Yeah, you guys can still see it, which is good. Dallas got the assist. Click got the assist. Bamford got the assist. I think Bamford assisted this goal too. Yeah. Let's see. Any more news on Twitter? Yep. This is funny. Somebody put a leaked Wolves lineup, Wolves 11. Would anyone actually care if the real Wolves lineup was shared? It's true. It's true. Antonio, because he will want to break some record of 10 goals plus, and get European football. Yeah, that's true. Also, Lingard, potentially the assister of him. I just don't see a situation where West Ham score like 3+ goals. Like, can I envision a situation where Burnley scores more than 2 today? Probably not. As bad as Sheffield United are, I think 2-0 is probably their ceiling. West Ham, I think they concede probably once. And I think their ceiling is maybe 3, but probably 2. Whereas Leeds, I think they might concede, but they probably score like 4. Yeah, it's just a matter of who I think is going to score more. Like, which team is more likely to score more goals today? Is it going to be West Ham or is it going to be Leeds? And unfortunately, I've had a lot of decisions like this season where it's been 50-50 calls. And I've gotten the 50-50 wrong, basically wrong every time. Which is not ideal. And typically what I've done is I've always sided with the player that's less owned, and in this case that would be Antonio or Wood. And the player with more ownership is always, now obviously ownership's no reason to go off it, I'm just saying it's just a coincidence that the higher owned, more template player has always burnt me, basically. Leads all players and points will be distributed. You already have 2 leads. I only have 1 leads player. The team that you see up on the screen is my actual team. Dallas, Mane, Antonio. Can I do that? I think I could. So Dallas. Yeah, I could do that. If I wanted to. So another thing that I'm thinking is this. So if I bring in like a Ben Mee or a Lowton or something like that as a cheap defender, right? Versus the likes of a Bamford. The defender's ceiling is probably 6 points. Whereas Bamford's could be higher. But I also risk, if I go Bamford, the likes of Ainan, Shaw, and Masuaku all not playing. And get 0, basically. Antonio and Mane will increase your Gameweek rank, and it's fun. Yeah, that's true. Harrison plus Rafinha, no hit, or Harrison, Mane, Bamford -4. I think Mane's worth the -4, I think. Me personally. Yeah, Mana, I took a look at your team, and I think the Mane, what was it, Mane Watkins team was better. Yeah, it was a Kane and Saka versus Mane and Watkins. And I think Mane and Watkins definitely wins that. For sure. Right. We got, what, 18 minutes left? Any league team news? An all-out attack chip would be nice right now. It would be. Yeah, there's a lot of different options we can go with. Any good Twitter leaks? No. The worry is kicking in? Yeah, it is. I mean, honestly, if you're going for, you know, like if you're only like a point or so ahead of somebody or a couple points behind in a mini league, I wouldn't be going like the Aguero route or anything like that. I think like Mane is a sensible pick. And using him is like your sword, as it were, as long as you have Salah still. And then your shield pick would maybe be like getting the Dallas that they, that they have, or getting the Trent that they have, that sort of thing. For me, rank and mini leagues are pretty much done this season, for the most part. So maybe I can roll the dice with like an Aguero or something like that, and like a one last time. Maybe it comes on. Even if it comes on for 10 minutes. Like, I'm pretty sure if he's on the... Let's say he starts on the bench, hypothetically, and City get a penalty, they might sub him on just because. And then he Panenkas it and the keeper saves it. But, it is what it is. I hope he wouldn't Panenka it. I don't know why penalty takers don't just smash it down the middle every time. I don't know why they just don't smash it down the middle. So, because a lot of goalkeepers, they just guess right or left, and then yeah, just causes a whole bunch of problems for them anyway. But yeah, if I don't see anything in 5 or so minutes, I'm just gonna make up my mind. I'm gonna like roll a dice or flip a coin or something. I don't know. But before we do that, let's take a look at some of our fantasy football scout tables. So if you haven't been following us this season, we do use Fantasy Football Scout. It's a £20 offer, I think, during the season, but they usually get a discount during the off season. You get a whole bunch of stats tables and that sort of stuff. So if we look at here, we have the goals limited table. So this is going to be sorted by expected goals. And Diego Jota is there. Kane, Werner, Calvert-Lewin, Fornals, McGoldrick, Mount, Madison, Nathan Redmond, and Trent Alexander-Arnold are all there. And these are players that have had a minimum of 10 goal attempts and have only scored 1 goal or less in that time when they should have scored more. So these are players that potentially, could potentially be looking for that 20-pointer. And yeah, Trent's definitely on there. Maybe Trent captain could be interesting. Whipping Boys table. So this is the basically worst defenses. It's a table that I've created. And yeah, if we look at XG conceded over the last 4 matches, Burnley are actually top for XG conceded, which makes me kind of a bit, a bit wary of wanting to bring in one of their defenders. Same with Newcastle. Newcastle are top 5 for XG conceded, which isn't ideal. And they're also, Burnley has conceded the most goals, which is also why I think Leeds is could be so good, because West Brom is second. They've conceded 9 goals. Shots on target they conceded the most with 32. And they haven't kept a clean sheet, so that's another reason why I think Leeds could do well. And if I did bring in Bamford, I'd be tempted to captain him as well, which would be an interesting basic go-to. Who to captain this week? So I've put 5 players in this table. I've gone with Salah, Antonio, Mane, Kane, and Bamford. Obviously, there are others, but these are probably the main front runners. So if we're looking at expected goal involvement over the last 4 matches, we can see that Salah is the highest with 3.59. 2 goals, 10 chances created, the most on the table. 2 big chances, tied most. Big chances created, tied most with 2. Mane being the only other player that has created big chances. Big chances total, tied for 4 with Kane and Antonio. And he said the most shots inside the box with 4 extra with 14. So Salah looks to be the clear standout option statistically for the captain's team. And if you look at Bamford's numbers, in contrary, same number of goals, only 3 chances created, no big chances created, had 2 big chances total, and only 6 shots inside the box. A bit of periphery in terms of stats, which may lead to the fact that he might not necessarily be the best captaincy choice. Maybe Rafinha is, who I haven't added in this table. So if I hit show all players and I go to, I'm going to add Rafinha in here. Let's see where he stacks up. Rafinha is even worse, apparently, over the last 4 matches, so which isn't ideal. So not great in terms of leads and stat wise, but they are playing a team that is quite rubbish in West Brom, who have already been relegated, and last time they played, they got destroyed, basically 5-0. So now people are saying that team with the Jones and Bailly and Mola, apparently that's not right either. So we'll see. I don't understand what the team news could be. what it should be. Realistically, it should be basically everyone not playing, in my opinion. If I'm from a United perspective. And still nothing on the team news front. And this is what happens when they did this intentionally with the deadline. They moved it back so that people couldn't, so that, you know, managers couldn't get the team news. And in Sky, you get to see the team, and then you can make transfers and stuff, which is, you know, kind of nice sometimes. United Stan said it's the team. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. Mind you, it's probably the most likely team, I would think. Phil Jones, maybe, but is a bit, you know, kind of out there. Yeah. We shall see. And I just wanna do. Cody or Digne? I still think Wolves probably concede to United's youngsters, to be honest, because they're very dynamic. I would play Digne personally. I think both Wolves and Everton will concede, but I think Digne is more likely to get you something. Mind you, United's pretty bad on set pieces, and Cody's been, you know, better on set pieces, but I don't know. I think you got to play the attacking defender, right? A little bit more exciting. A lot of people could be benching Digne this week as well, so I think that could be to your advantage. Well, based on Newcastle's tweet, I mean, they showed Fabian Schär, Almiron, and Willock's jerseys, so maybe they're starting. Which, I mean, is expected, but that's not really what we want. We want the full team news. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything useful for the deadline. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything useful. So, my what should I go with? Would you prefer Rafinha or Harrison? Rafinha. Every time Rafinha gets the ball, he looks dangerous. Hey Dan, how's it going? Not sure what to do with Fernandez. I would say transfer him out. That's what I'm gonna do, almost certainly. Fernandez to a Leeds midfielder, Rafinha or Harrison or Mane is quite popular as well. Yeah, Lingard if you don't have him. Maybe Son. That's what I would do, personally. I think that's probably the best situation because, you know, United are probably going to, if they don't have to, they're probably going to not want to have to play. They're probably not going to want to have to play Fernandez, Cavani, you know, these sorts of players, if they don't have to. Which makes the most sense because you know you don't want these guys getting hurt, right? Before the Europa League final, which is important for Solskjaer mainly, because he wants to win his first trophy. He would definitely want to win his first trophy. If only if I knew Aguero was starting. If I knew Aguero was starting, it'd be a no-brainer. I think. I would just go with Aguero just for the nostalgia pick. He can get injured in the first minute, I wouldn't care. I could say that I owned Aguero in his last game in FPL. But, yeah. Still not entirely sure. Do I just risk it? Do I just go with Aguero with the nostalgia pick? Or do I go with the safe and sensible? Just go with something pretty straightforward. Like Mane or something like that. Season's been a bit of a roller coaster. Been a bit of a roller coaster, I would say. So maybe that requires roller coaster like picks. I don't know. Fernandes won't start. Fernandes ain't playing. I'm pretty sure Solskjaer is going to chain Fernandes to the bench so that he can't come on the pitch. I'm 99.9% sure of that. Let's see, any last team news from what I can tell? Not that I can tell. Not that I can tell. However, I have made my transfers. I did them off screen. And we went with the nostalgia pick. Watkins over Saka, in my opinion. We went with the nostalgia pick. If it backfires, it backfires. It's whatever. I don't really care. I'm going to go for it. I think it's exciting. And yeah, the season's been bad. It can't get any worse. Let's go for it. Guerrero comes off the bench and scores a hat trick or something. I don't care. Let's go for it. Let's have some fun to end the season. So we took out Masuaku, Fernandes, and DCL. We brought in Aguero, Willock, and Robertson. So we still got 3 Liverpool. We have Salah vice captain just in case. Yeah, why not? Give it a whirl. We got 10 seconds left, so make sure to have your teams locked in. My team, my bench order looks to be fine. I'm still going to play Digne over Aina anyway. I think that makes the most sense. Just because he could potentially... Yeah, so what? Aguero's going with Digne. I don't really care. Digne could potentially get an attack in return. Maybe. So we shall see. Now, is that FPL broken yet? Maybe, maybe not. And there we go. That's it. That is the FPL deadline. It is done and dusted. So yeah. The Aguero gamble is that's what's happening. We did it, and why not? Just just roll the dice, have some fun. Let's see how it goes. Hendo, Digne, TA, Dallas, Salah captain, Mane, Rafinha. Yeah, I like that team a lot better, Mono. That team is a lot better than the one with Kane, in my opinion. Yeah, Kane could go and score up 3, but Kane could do that any day. But he just looks disinterested, to be honest. Also, I think somebody like when he missed an attempt on goal in the last game, he was like, I think he said like, "What's the point?" or something like that. Like it looked like that's what he was mouthing. So we shall see. Don't see anything team news wise, but we'll get that in a half an hour. So we'll have to wait on that. But yeah, let's move over to the big screen here. So that has been it for this FPL season. We'll be back. Make sure to follow us on Twitter because I'll be announcing when we're going to be doing like our reflection stream. It's gonna be probably a long one. It might be a lot of me rambling and kind of looking at different things. I will be releasing a video either tonight or tomorrow for my England squad that I would, if I would choose in comparison to what I think Southgate's probably going to go with for the Euros. So make sure to check us out for that. And then maybe I'll do something, another video later on, or I'll do the stream later on in the week. But next weekend, so not this weekend, next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, and then Tuesday as well. Those days I have a bunch of stuff going on, so I won't be probably doing anything video related. But then after that, what I'll probably do is I'll get my capture card, which is sitting over there on the floor, haven't had a chance to install it. I'll get that set up. And then maybe we do a FIFA career mode for United or whoever to bypass the time, and then maybe we'll set up some situations where we can watch some of the Euros games as like a watch along if you guys would be interested in that. But yeah, let me know on the VOD for this or tweet at me. Yeah, we'll be doing all the streams here on Twitch as well, so make sure to follow us here. Thanks for watching. It's been a long FPL season. Hopefully we can have some fun on the final game week of the season. And yeah, I will see you guys for the season review later on this week coming. And until the next one, take care.